Candidate Kim Carr and hand it over to our moderators.
Why don't you go ahead?
Candidate Carr, please give us a 2-minute introduction.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. I am Kim Carr, candidate for State Senate in District 36. I am truly grateful to be here tonight in what is pretty much my second hometown. I grew up in West Garden Grove, graduated from Pacifica High School, graduated from Cal State Fullerton with a degree in American Studies and Economics, and I spent 25 years in the business world. In 2018, I saw what was happening in my community, and rather than stand by and complain, I decided to jump in and make a difference. I won my race handedly against 15 people, and I came in almost second place as a first-time candidate in a city of over 200,000 people. Some of the accomplishments that I've had on the City Council include reducing homelessness in the city of Huntington Beach by 35%, fully funding all of our pensions for our city employees, our police officers, our firefighters, and we did not raise taxes. At the end of the year, while I was mayor, we ended the year with a $10 million surplus, the first time ever in the history of Huntington Beach. And we were able to continue to do funding for public works projects like streets, our community centers, our parks, and our playgrounds. I'm running for this seat because I am focused on homelessness, crime and public safety, the cost of living in California, the environment, and Sacramento overreach. I had the opportunity to be the mayor during last year's oil spill, so I know a thing or two about the environment and how critical it is that we have people in Sacramento that are really champions for us and who are fighting for us. So I know we have a lot of questions, and I just got the time, so thank you, and I know we'll have some opportunities to dive more deeply into some of these issues.
Good evening, Candidate Carr. Your first question is a repeat of a question we asked the congressional candidate. This year, there was a major nationwide redistricting effort aimed at serving our underrepresented populations and ethnicities. In fact, many of our existing district lines were shifted, and we now have both different boundaries and different representation. Would you speak to the issues of diversity and inclusion and give an example of how you plan to represent the many different needs and interests in our community?
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, this is a completely different district and probably one of the most unique in California. It encompasses 18 cities in unincorporated Orange County. So it begins in Seal Beach all the way down to San Clemente, so every single beach city, all 42 miles of coastline, and it goes as far north as Cerritos and Artesia. So it includes cities like Seal Beach, Cypress, Rossmoor, Los Alamitos, La Palma, Artesia, Hawaiian Gardens. It is absolutely incredibly unique, and I think that that's why I am so qualified for this particular position. I grew up here. I grew up in Garden Grove, and I've been living in Huntington Beach for the last 25 years. This district encompasses a lot of different elements. It is a heavily coastal district. Being a former mayor for the city of Huntington Beach, I understand coastal issues, and I know how to get things done. At the same time, in Huntington Beach, we're a population of over 200,000 residents. It's an incredibly diverse community. We have the Oakview community that is predominantly Hispanic. We touch a little bit into the Little Saigon community. So we have all different sorts of ethnicities and cultures within our own city. And I, as mayor, have launched more diversity, equity, and inclusion programs than anybody in the city of Huntington Beach. I appointed more women to boards and commissions than any other mayor in the city of Huntington Beach. And I launched programs to counter anti-Asian hate, anti-Semitism in the city of Huntington Beach. So I have a track record of success of actually doing things, not just providing a lot of lip service when it comes to diversity.
Thank you. Second question, homelessness is a complicated issue and has become systematic in our society, affecting the mental health of those impacted. The social and cognitive ability of people without stable housing is exacerbated. What will you do to improve the availability of sustainable housing and ancillary services to minimize homelessness?
I'm so glad that I have this question because in the city of Huntington Beach, this was my focus when I got elected to the city council, and I have tremendous results of the very hard work that I've done with this. And you're right, this is a complicated issue, and to really address homelessness, you need everybody rowing in the same direction. That means your police officers need to be on board, which we have a homeless task force with 7 dedicated officers addressing homelessness. You need to have your faith-based groups involved, your nonprofits. You need to have your business community involved, your residents. We opened up a navigation center in December of 2020 to address how can we enforce some of our anti-camping ordinances. But in addition to that, as you mentioned, mental health is a big component of this. We were the first city in Southern California to launch Be Well OC Project Hope. And what that does is it allows us to go out and address nonviolent, non-emergency calls with a licensed clinical social worker and a medical professional to address homelessness. And the key thing about that is it's not your police officers that are doing this. It frees them up to do what they want to do, which is to fight crime. And it allows people who have the experience to deal with homelessness, substance abuse, all types of issues. And the great thing about the Be Well program is it's not just limited to homelessness or substance abuse. It also addresses isolation. It addresses people who are suicidal. So having these programs, in addition to Project Home Key, we could spend a half hour on all the things that we've done in Huntington Beach. But this is one of the things I'm passionate about. This is one of the things that I have a track record of success on, and I will bring that enthusiasm and that can-do attitude with the receipts to prove that it can be done without spending a fortune. You just need to have the political will to do it.
Candidate Carr, the next question is specific to Rossmoor. Over the years, the issue of Rossmoor incorporation has come before the community. It has always been soundly rejected by the voters. The issue of governance is now being brought back again by a small group within Rossmoor. What is your position regarding Rossmoor incorporation and the current attempts to expand the latent powers of the Rossmoor Community Services District to include public safety without first placing an issue of such consequence before the community for a formal ballot measure vote?
These are the things, I have a little bit of familiarity with this, with the annexation of Sunset Beach. And that really did come from the residents who wanted that to happen. I believe that it should be the residents that make that determination. And I had the opportunity to read some white papers about how much this community contributes to the County of Orange and what sort of services you get in return. I truly believe that it's up to this community to make that determination if they want to be incorporated or not. But as we've seen, Seal Beach is not particularly interested in taking on that project. They weren't interested when Sunset Beach was also being kicked around as well. And then Los Alamitos, again, it has to be this partnership, and it really needs to be coming from the residents. So if the residents would prefer to stay independent, and there doesn't seem to be a drain on the county for doing so, in fact, this city is a donor to the county, I don't see why you would go down that path, personally. But again, I think it should be left to the determination of the residents.
We are faced with a possibly catastrophic drought. What steps will you take to ensure our water supply and share of available water are maintained?
Well, the governor has created a master plan when it comes to water. Unfortunately, when this plan came out, COVID hit. And so there were a lot of things that were discussed that never really were brought to fruition. But we have a water crisis in California, there's no doubt about it. And we need to have every tool in the toolbox. And in our city, we were looking at desalination. Now, I was not a fan of the Poseidon project because I saw the impact that it would have on our environment, but desal can work. And there is a project being proposed right now in Dana Point that is very thoughtful, that will have the right intake, that will minimize the impact on our coastal communities. So I think we all need to be able to do our part. We all need to conserve. We need to also look at our agricultural practices to make sure that we're not wasting water and planting, maybe rice in the middle of a desert doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But nevertheless, I think that having a comprehensive plan and using every tool in the toolbox is going to be critical. And it's going to take everybody's part, not just residents, big business, agriculture has to be a part of that solution as well. So I'm hopeful that the governor will make this more front and center as we move forward, because this was put on the back burner 2 years ago, and I think more than ever now, we need to really address these issues and come forward with some thoughtful solutions.
Candidate Carr, our final question for you tonight is, again, of particular import to a lot of Rossmoor residents. With the epidemic of stolen catalytic converters in the Southern California area, what specifically will you do to stop this senseless crime? And we're all aware that the governor just signed a bill, but it goes short of putting an ID number on the part, like there are on almost all the other parts in a car. So what would you do beyond what's already been done?
Well, actually, in the city of Huntington Beach, we also have an epidemic going on, and so we created an ordinance about 9 months ago to address that, to do the etching and to make the etching free for residents so that we could start to cut back on that. But I am a huge champion of our law enforcement. I added $1.5 million just to do the Be Well program. I've spent, well, not me personally, but I was part of the council that authorized us spending over $7 million when it came to police helicopters, a new fire engine, a new boat for our marine safety. So my opponent likes to say that somehow I am a defund the police type of person. I have the strong support of the Huntington Beach Police Officers Association, the firefighters, and I have been a champion for our law enforcement. I want to make sure that they have the tools that they need to be effective. So when we heard from them, creating this ordinance would be helpful. We acted on it immediately. So I don't pretend to have the answers to make police successful. I look to them and ask them, what would help you? How can I make your job easier, and how can we reduce this? So that's where we did come up with that ordinance, and I know that they're looking at doing something on a county level as well. And yes, I do believe that the state could have done a little bit more with that. And had I been in Sacramento, I would have advocated for that.
Please provide us your concluding statement.
Well, thank you so much again for the opportunity to be a part of this. I would also like to echo that my opponent is not here, nor did she fill out the application or submit a video, or excuse me, the questionnaire or a video. I am a person that is really just, what you see is what you get. I work incredibly hard, which is why I was incredibly successful as a business professional in the media industry for 25 years. I work so hard as a city council member, making sure that my residents are represented, that we get things done. You all have needs. You need somebody who's going to be a champion for you in Sacramento, not somebody who's going to show up for ribbon cuttings, not somebody who's going to show up to give you shiny proclamations. That does nothing. You need somebody with a seat at the table who knows how to get things done and who knows how to work across the aisle. Look, I say to people all the time, if you can make it happen in Huntington Beach, you can make it happen anywhere. We have a very passionate community, and I've been successful because I do have an open door. And I know people say that all the time, but no, I really do. When you get my business card, it has my personal cell phone number on it. I don't hide from people. I love these types of opportunities to get in front of people and talk to people and hear about what are your needs. I am a true public servant at heart. That's what I do. I don't get paid a lot of money to be on city council. I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I'm doing this because we have a need in this community. I have a need. This is my home, and I'm going to fight for it. And I am passionate about Sacramento overreach. As a city council member and former mayor, I know too many things about unfunded mandates. We don't need that. We need somebody who's a real champion and a fighter for you, and I will be that for you. I ask that you join teachers, nurses, firefighters, everyday hardworking people just like you who are voting for me to be a part of this. So learn more at votekimcarr.com, and I'll be around if you want to ask me any questions later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candidate Carr.